Iowa Soybean Association has a research program, and we've done different trials for them with different things. And not one time have we ever seen a silver bullet product. One thing that just was fantastic, no matter what you did, worked everywhere and did what it was supposed to do. I just have a hard time believing that one product is going to make a difference. It takes a systematic approach. My name's Jeff Ellis. My wife Paula and I, we farm about 1,700 acres in Donnelson, Iowa, which is in the very southeast corner of the state. We started looking at this system in 2016. We were looking for something different. I met Matt Vickers first, and then I met Jim Ewell. And before we started doing the program, they were in our field 2 or 3 times that summer at different stages, kind of showing us what to look at. That was more than anybody, my local chemical guy, fertilizer guy, any of them had ever been in our fields digging up plants. They were actually out here before we'd bought anything from them.
I honestly do feel like I'm helping people when I'm doing this. You know, they delight when you do walk out in their cornfields, because very few people do that. It's eye-opening to them because nobody's ever done that. You know, we just cut open a corn plant and people are just amazed that you can tell what's going on. You know, how can you tell how deep you planted, you know, when the corn's tasseled out?
That was the first time I'd ever seen anybody read a corn plant, you might say. Well, you planted this deep, didn't you? I guess, yeah. That led me to think at least there's people in this company that actually have an interest to see what we're doing, not just sell us product.
Jeff is the darndest guy. I mean, he just, man, as soon as I get on the property, go grab your spade, let's go dig some plants somewhere.
When we started doing the system, I mean, we did everything they want us to on about half our corn. And then when that worked, that showed 20 bushel difference, and we're like, we can't do half the corn again, that would be stupid. So then we were all in since then, and we did the bean. We even tried the beans the same way. We got 9, 10 bushel on beans, and we tested beans 2 years in a row, and they just, it was the same. So it was like, we're just doing everything, that's what we're gonna do.
He tried it on half his acres the first year. And that's what we told him, you're just gonna get mad because you didn't do it on all your acres. And the system has proved itself over and over and over. You just have to trust that the system works as it is.
One reason we started on this entire system is we had a desire for something different. It seemed like we would put in Hydroson in the spring. Whenever we were putting in Hydroson, you get a day into 4 or 5 days of doing that. It's like, why aren't we planting instead of putting in Hydroson? This is ridiculous. So how do we do that? How do we find a system that allows us to do that? Hesitation was buying a trailer and hooking it on the back of the planter. That really seemed like a pain, but I'm like, I always liked putting in Hydroson. I was like, how, really isn't any different. Paula, my wife, runs the planter. She hates pulling that trailer, but when it works, it works. With nitrogen that close to the seed don't have to look for it, it finds it. We don't have corn that goes through that ugly duckling stage. It just don't. We can plant into 12-inch rye with corn and it will come out looking perfect. We've got a semi-trailer set up. Usually I try to carry 3 loads, about 4,000 gallon. And so we've always got enough for 3 loads on the trailer and about the same with the starter. It takes time, but we're also not spending that day or 2 or 3 putting in Hydroson when we should be planting. It's just what we do. It's just how we do it now.
There's lots of different ways to do it, right? Equipment, you know, setting the equipment up a certain way, and there's good, better, best, right? And it seems like he wants to get applied the right way, the best way. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff to do, but he wants to do it right. That says a lot about what he's like as a farmer.
We'd spent 20 years grid sampling, and we would variable rate fertilizer, P&K and lime, the way they recommended, the way the local outfit recommended. And it was funny, phosphorus numbers did even out in fields. Potassium wouldn't. Our clay soils just tie it up. And so I was looking for different ways to fertilize.
We're not going to change everything, fix everything overnight. since he's been getting away from some of the standard practices, and his whole farm average has continued to increase as how many years he's been on the systems. Really, I think overall helped his average go up quite a bit.
Farming humbles a person. It's so hard to know everything that it takes, back to all the details it takes to have a decent crop, corn or beans, and then have everything run and everything happen like it's supposed to, without having some support somewhere. And having access to these kind of folks is priceless, really, when they can tell you what's wrong, what you're doing wrong, what you did wrong, or what you did right, what you could do better. Nobody comes out and says that. All you ever got was a moron factor is, no, you need more potash. Put more potash out, more potash. The answers are there to the what, why, and how, not just the moron factor. Let's put more on and see what happens.